Baking with Emily and Friends. My name is Emily, and my friend with me today is Karmen. Karmen is a wife and mother of 3. She is a former coworker of mine, and she is soon to be my younger brother's mother-in-law.
Yes.
So today, Karmen and I, as our extracurricular activity, will be painting my house. As you can see, it has already been somewhat started. Everything's a bit of a mess, but I'm hoping by the time we're done, my walls are beautiful. But our baking project today is croissants / pain au chocolat, because we will be making croissants. Half the batch will be croissants, half the batch will be pain au chocolat. So I'm excited about making croissants. We are using a recipe from Paul Hollywood's book, The Weekend Baker, and a little bit about the technicality of croissants, because I've always been confused about the difference between croissants, crescent rolls, and puff pastry. So I did a little digging, and I found on oureverydaylife.com, they explained it a little bit better to me. So a croissant, you make a yeasted dough, but then you do the cold butter laminating process where you fold the butter in, and that's how you get your flaky layers. A crescent roll, you've got some melted butter inside of it, you roll it out, put some melted butter on top of it, and then when you roll it up, it gets some flake, but it's still just a dough. And then you also do it more of a crescent moon shape, hence the name. And then a puff pastry doesn't have the yeast in it, and then you laminate it with the cold butter again, and that's what gives it rise and flake. And then you just use that dough for pastries, whatever kind of pastry you want, like turnovers, some such thing. I was really excited to learn that because I've always been very confused about the difference between a croissant and a crescent roll and pastry dough. So having learned that, we are now going to get started on making our croissants. Okay, so we're going to start by putting our flour in our mixing bowl. So we need 350 grams of bread flour. We can just use the...
I have no idea how much 350 grams is.
Quite a lot more than that. Alright, and then we need 150 grams of plain flour.
Okay, I gotta go more slowly with this one because I can't take it out.
Perfect. Alright. Scary. Flour is in a bowl of a mixer. Alright, add salt and sugar to one side of the bowl. So we need 10 grams of salt. So you're going to put them on one side of the bowl so that they do not mix with the yeast. You can probably use a tablespoon because that's not going to add up to very much. But yeah, whichever side.
I'm so scared.
1 gram down, 9 to go.
Oh, hey, that was 1.
Perfect! Yeah! Alright. And then we need 80 grams of caster sugar. And caster sugar, as near as I can figure as an American, is a little bit finer than granulated sugar, and so, but not quite as fine as like powdered sugar. And so I just put it in the food processor and blitzed it up for a while and called it good. And now for the yeast, which you're going to put on the other side of the bowl, we need 10 grams of that. And you might be asking, why are we not putting the yeast in warm water so it can start the blooming process? Everything that I've heard from Paul Hollywood is that you don't have to do that. That with the way yeast works now, you've got the active dry yeast, you don't need to put it into the water. If you're uncertain about whether or not your yeast might still be good, if it's kind of old, then by all means go ahead and proof it in the water, but otherwise you don't really have to bother. Add water and mix on slow speed for 2 minutes. So we've got 300 milliliters of water here. Okay, so my mixer slash this table is not handling the kneading very well, and it's kind of going crazy. And it's a fairly stiff dough, so we're gonna go ahead and hand knead it for a while. Are you ready to do that?
Sounds delightful.
Sure is. Okay, so go ahead and take some of the bread flour and sprinkle some on the table.
You good?
Yep. It's great. So put that, and then get all the extra bits, and that's what you're gonna work into the dough. Make it all together. Keep my armrest here. So that should be pretty good. And now put it in a clean bowl, cover it with cling film, and chill in the fridge for 8 hours or overnight. Bowl in. Alright, so it's covered. It's going to go in the refrigerator overnight so that I get her to come and paint again tomorrow. And now we get to go paint.
Woohoo!
For a while.
Let's do it.
Welcome to day 2. She came back. Thank you for returning. So today we are going to get started with actually laminating our dough. And to start that, we gotta pound out some butter. So we need 300 grams of unsalted butter. So we're gonna go ahead and weigh that out. And each box is 453 grams, so it's going to be 3-ish sticks. Okay, now it says flatten the butter into a rectangle approximately 40 centimeters by 19 centimeters. So we're going to actually put it between 2 sheets of parchment paper. And then get a bash away.
That's okay.
Dash away. You're doing great. You're almost there, actually.
Chop with the fingers.
So 40 by 19. So we want to make sure that it's staying together. And 40 is like this plus that. So we have a little ways to go. But you're almost to the 19, so we kind of wanted to keep going that way. I don't know how to do that. And you can probably start like actually trying to roll it now. Do you think with the rolling it would help to have the bigger rolling pin?
Maybe.
We'll bring out the big guns.
I'm not gonna lick this thing.
There you go. Okay. Measure one more time. Perfect. Okay, so now we get to stick that in the fridge and start rolling out our dough. Okay, so now we have the dough that we made last night, and it says, take the dough and put it on a lightly floured surface. So I got some flour there. Beautiful. Punch it down. It's not as satisfying when it's cold. It doesn't go down quite as much. So take it out. So now it says to roll out the dough approximately 60 by 20 centimeters. So we'll just get it kind of floured, loosen it up a little bit. So I found that it helps when you're rolling stuff into a rectangle to kind of start with a rectangle. Okay, so would you like to do the honors?
I'll attempt it.
Okay.
You might have to finish it.
And then turn it, make sure you get flour on it. And we do want to try and keep it as square as possible. And so like just, yep. And sometimes when it's this cold, it can help to do kind of a, you want to work it up and down. And then turn it. And we do want to be a bit finicky on this part so that when it comes to trying to laminate the butter, we have a nice square and it's not going to be leaking out all the sides. So yeah, keep going with rolling.
I don't think it's actually growing.
It is. It's just by small increments.
It's definitely not staying square.
We'll make it work. Whatever we have to do, we'll make it work. They say all these scary things, like you must do this, you must do that. You do have a little bit of leeway on a lot of things, I found. It's not quite as intense, especially if you're just doing it at home for yourself.
It doesn't have to be magazine perfect.
No, exactly. Okay, so we had some technical difficulties. It's been a little over an hour, but we got a little bit more painting done, and now we're ready for our first/second, probably our second turn. And we're gonna want to roll it out back to 60 by 20 centimeters. So I'll probably just keep rolling it long ways. And why don't you hold that for a second? Get us a testing.
I can handle that.
A test. Okay. And then do a little bit more in there. And then just nice and gently, starting in the middle, going up. Full. Nice and gentle because you don't want the butter to come swooshing out the sides. Yes, so make sure the sides are nice and pinched. And then we'll go ahead and flip it. That way you don't lose some out the bottom and not realize it, so you want to keep switching sides. And then there's something about the dough relaxing and not being relaxed. I don't know. All I know is it helps if you move it a little bit more.
Do we need to go sideways at all? This is not 20.
It was supposed to be. Oh, it's not.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Looks a little.
Nope, it's right at about 20.
Perfect.
So right now we're at. Yeah, you just need about 4 more centimeters and it'll be great.
A little bit too much.
Alright. Well, we'll let it relax a little bit, come together. And so now fold half the dough upwards away from you, then fold down the other half so that they meet in the middle.
Okay.
I think this is called a book turn. So yeah, so they're about half and half. And then fold the top half over the bottom half. Yeah, it says right here, book turn. Ha!
Isn't that cute?
Okay, and so then,
Maybe wrap it and that's it?
yeah, that's another turn done.
Sweet.
Super simple.
Like that one.
And we'll set the timer for another hour. And be back at it again for one more turn. Okay, so here we are for our
Final turn.
final turn. Yeah, let's call it final instead of turn. Okay, so again, we're gonna roll it out to the 60 by 20 and then do a book turn just like we did last time. Simple enough.
Okay.
Now we wrap it up, put it back in the refrigerator, and
Chill for an hour.
chill for an hour. And then if you're doing it normally, unlike we were doing it, then after that hour you'd be ready to go ahead and prep it for baking. But as I said, with time constraints and whatnot, we are going to go ahead and refrigerate it overnight again and work on finishing it tomorrow. Is that good?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Welcome back for day 3. Now this is when we actually get to do like the fun stuff and
Yes.
things actually start happening. So we're gonna get our dough out that's been sitting overnight. Alright, you wanna put a little flour down on the table. Now this time we want to roll it out to, in this one he says approximately 42 centimeters by 30 centimeters by 0.7 centimeters thick.
Oh, approximately.
Approximately. Alright. Have at it. Whew. And while you do all the hard work, I'll just stand here drinking my coffee. Go ahead and get a little bit more flour on here, and we'll flip it over.
How wide did they say it has to be?
wide, 30 centimeters. So you do want more of a, closer to a square. It's not going quite so long as it has been. Yeah, make sure butter is not going to start cooking through. So let's go ahead, flip it this way so that you can start working on that one. 30 centimeters is about a foot wide. And this is where you're going to notice that the butter is going to start to want to poke through just a little bit more. So just make sure you keep putting some more flour on it so that it doesn't start sticking to the table. So 42, 30, 12, so you're running long, so we're just going to be looking for width. Plus about 12. Perfect! Okay, so we're going to cut a line about halfway here. So what I'm going to do is about 10 inches wide now. I'm just going to take that and mark at the 5 inches all along the way. Then we can use that to guide when you cut. Or if you're confident, you can just eyeball it. It really doesn't matter that much. Set that one aside for later for the pain au chocolat. Okay, so now we're gonna cut triangles along the length of the strip. So he says the base of each triangle should be 12 centimeters wide and they should be about 15 centimeters high. We may have lost some of the
You were supposed to get 4
measurements that we got. So we are just gonna go ahead and eyeball this part.
How about we just divide it by...
Or you can do some math. Go for it.
Sorry, I'm an accountant. So I have 16, so you need to be 4 inches wide.
Okay, there you go.
But I'm cutting like...
Yeah, so you'll cut...
Let's just mark here.
Yep, go for it.
So just cut from here basically to the corner, right?
Sure. Yeah, that way you get triangles.
This is going to make like 8 then. Are we
That's
stacking
fine.
them?
Yep, that's fine.
We're not selling these in a store, right?
That's right. Okay, so now for rolling these out, grab our tray with the parchment paper on it. For the pain au chocolat, I looked at littlefrenchbakery.com, and something that she recommended for when you're rolling these out, cut a little bit right there so that it spreads out a little bit more and it makes it a little bit bigger and you get a better shape. So we'll go ahead and make a little cut on the wide end. Yep. Just like this. And then we'll start rolling like that. And just like that. Something along those lines. Again, it's not perfect. It might be a little bit thick or something, but they're gonna taste delicious. And then we'll just do that with all of the rest of them. So on that end. Okay, last one. So we'll put these on the pan. We'll cover them with one of these towels. That's just to keep the air from getting to them so they don't dry out as much. And then we'll let them rise for about an hour so that they get nice and poofy. Go ahead and grab our other pan. Now we get to do the chocolate ones. Alright, so these, as I said, I looked at littlefrenchbakery.com, and since he doesn't have the chocolate version of these, and for this we want rectangles that are about 3 by 4 inches. So that should basically work like you had measured before. Go ahead and cut those. I'll start unwrapping our chocolate. I just got the nicest chocolate that I could find, and just a semi-sweet. But you can go for whatever you want. If you want just a milk chocolate or a dark chocolate, or you can go for bittersweet, whichever kind of chocolate you want. So what we need are little strips that we can put on each end, and then we'll roll them together and kind of look like a little scroll. Okay, so maybe cut each half.
That was close to work.
Yep. Okay, so then we'll place that there. And I mean, as long as the chocolate gets into it, you know, probably doesn't really matter. Just this last one, look at all those little scrapings of chocolate. Put that one down, and then we'll cover this too and let it rise for an hour as well.
Sounds good.
Now we actually get to back to painting.
This is where we pull out the ones that are already risen.
Oh, no, sorry. That's not how we
Stick
do
them right in the
it.
oven.
We actually have to wait. This is why we're doing something, to take our minds off the waiting. So now we get to roll the paint. Okay, so now we have our first, we have our hour rise done, and so now the croissants go in at about 400 degrees or 200 degrees Celsius, and but the pain au chocolat can go in at 350. So we're going to go ahead and get those ready to go into first. Got our oven preheating. They need an egg wash, so go ahead and grab that. Put the egg into there. Get it up with a fork. And then just brush. Great. And this will just help them go a nice golden brown. So then we'll put those in the oven for 30 minutes. Back to painting.
Okay.
Okay, so our pain au chocolat just came out of the oven. Doesn't it look beautiful?
It does. It looks
Okay.
amazing.
And now we've turned our oven up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit so that we can egg wash our croissants and set them in. Alright, now we can set those in the oven for 15 minutes and see what other painting we can get done in that time. Okay, it's the moment that we've been waiting for. It's the reason that you're actually here. We got them done. Now, they got a little overdone, I think, or the top got yeah, so I would need to work a little bit with the temperature of the oven, and I was combining a couple different recipes there, so that might have affected how some stuff got done, but they're done inside. And so let's try. Yeah, let's start with the croissant since that's what the dough is supposed to be for. It's a nice flaky bits. It's a little bit underdone right in the middle, so the outside did get done a little too fast. So
Lower temperature for a longer time.
probably. But we can try the outside bits. It did get a nice flakiness, a nice lamination, I think. At least that's what it looks like to me, in my
It looks good.
professional opinion. It's a
Really
croissant.
This is a very good croissant.
Alright, if you do say so yourself. Alright. Ready to try it with chocolate?
Sure.
Now, they just say for these that it's best to wait about 30 minutes or so. Let me finish doing. Alright. Wait 30 minutes or so because if you eat it right away, the butter can make it taste kind of greasy. Which I think it has been.
It's
Probably
been about 30 minutes,
Yeah. So, that.
That looks
These
amazing.
definitely got done. There we go. Nice chocolate in the middle. You get your own piece. Let me have my piece.
I don't know how to eat this.
With a smile on your face, because it's yummy.
That was very tasty.
It's good, makes it all worth it.
I'd almost say it needs more chocolate. Like if you played it, maybe drizzle some chocolate
Oh, yep.
over the top.
Also some chocolate on top. Yes, that would be quite yummy.
Of course, I love chocolate. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Alright. So, you got the kitchen finished, painted. Now I just need to put everything back in order, get everything where it's supposed to be. A lot of everything else is painted as well. I've just got to maybe do one more coat around the house. So, we accomplished 2 things this weekend. Thank you for all of your help.
You're welcome.
Oh.
I feel like I have chocolate all over my face.
Nope, you're good. Thank you for watching. If you have any other tips, tricks, ideas, suggestions, let me know down below. And I don't know how to. I don't know. There you go. And if you have any ideas, tips, tricks, suggestions about what we could have done differently or something else that I can try with a different friend, then let me know.
Because I'm not coming back.
Just let me know in the comment section down below, and happy baking. Yeah, very good.
It's so good. This was amazing.
Alright, glad you like it. Woo!